You guys let me know when you can see and hear me. Wirehead, hello. Can hear you. Oh, good. Seen and heard. Nice. Hello. Sounding good. Awesome. Awesome. Kristi will be with us just a moment. She's running a little bit behind this morning. Loud and clear. Good. Hope you guys are all having a good Friday. Yeah. What's up, party people? Your voice has bass, so that's a plus. Nice. I've been told as much. Oh man. Has it been a crazy week for you guys the way it's been a crazy week for us? What happened to the Wilsons? You're going to have to tune in on Sunday and find out. Yes, caught the open second or third time. Usually have to jump in later. Well, I'm glad that you're here, David. Rest in peace, Ozzy. Yes. James, yes, I did get a haircut, and I went and I paid a professional to do it as opposed to becoming impatient and doing it myself, which is basically what I've been doing for the last however many years. I just get impatient and I just shave my own head. But yeah, I got a haircut, gosh, I don't know, maybe it's been a little over a week now. It was an interesting experience. Kristi is just getting situated.
What's up, everybody? Yeah, you should tell them about your experience.
My experience.
Tell them all about it.
Yeah, so I went to this place, local. I thought it was new. Apparently it's been open for like 2 years. And, you know, they advertise. It's more of a, I guess you could call it like it's a male-oriented.
It's a barbershop.
Barbershop. And they advertise things like, you know, beard trimming, beard shaping, facials, haircuts, spa treatment, stuff like that, you know, but for men. And I was like, you know what, I'll treat myself, you know, it's about to be my birthday, whatever, I'll do something nice. And I went, and keep in mind, and I just booked the whole thing. I was like, went online, I'm like, let's just try this place out, let's put them to the test. So I did the full package. So it was like $100, and I don't like spending that kind of money on myself very often. And so yeah, what they photographed and then what was there, while it was the same space, I think those images were like before anything opened, because in the 2 years since, they've made some changes. It was very loud. It was very bright. There were TVs everywhere. We had the volume from whatever baseball game was on competing with late 90s, early 2000s hip hop blaring through the Sonos distributed audio system. And then on top of it, you've got people, you know, doing hair dryers and all of that.
You know, it was a place for dudes.
Yeah, it was a place for dudes. And I mean, but it was just kind of, it was a lot. It was like sensory overload. There was so much. And then there was like this, they use these products that have this smell to them. And I guess, you know, some people may find those smells appealing or attractive, but if anyone's ever been within 10 feet of the opening of like a Hollister store in a mall, if you hear a thumping or whatever, that is Kristi adjusting her microphone.
I want to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah, she's real proud of herself. Anyway, yeah, so it was a very toxic smell. And it permeated all the fibers of my clothes, and it took me back to like junior year of high school, working at the mall and having to walk by Abercrombie and Fitch every day on my way to the movie theater. And yeah, it was just a lot. It was a lot. Anyway, I'm very pleased with the haircut I received. And I was pleased with the beard trim that I got. Although the facial part of it, they completely tore my skin apart because they use like exfoliating gloves. And the only way I can explain what that is, you know, Knights of the Round Table, like the chainmail gloves. Just make it out of fabric, but chainmail, and just, you know, we're going to exfoliate, aka peel off the top layers of your skin. And I'm still recovering from it, actually. Over a week later, you can see I've got some redness here, and I've had some redness around here off and on all week because my skin is still just so irritated from. Anyway, long story short, you're here for HiFi and Home Theater, not Andrew's Beauty Hour.
No, they're not.
But
They're here for the side quest.
For the side quest.
We
So-
all know that.
So yeah, I was a good human being. I paid full price and I tipped, and I won't be going back.
What he's not telling you is that I was at my own hair salon at the same time, so he scheduled it so that his would be simultaneously happening. So he dropped me off at my salon, and they're amazing. I always leave happy. And
Hey, I don't want to, hold on, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
What?
Chris Veltman, if you're still with us, is it your birthday today? Do we have the same birthday? Or are you celebrating, or my birthday is technically tomorrow, but boy, that would be a coincidence if, you know, we have the same birthday, seeing as how Chris has been a follower for ages. Sorry, continue. And if it is, happy birthday, Chris. Go ahead. I just saw it pop up.
Yeah, babe, I know. We could have. I'm sure that.
All right, I'm sorry. She was.
It's July 25th. Chris
Okay,
says.
Chris is today.
You guys are both Leos.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm at my hair salon. He's at his. I'm pretty excited for him because, you know, as he just told you, he doesn't spend money on himself. You know, he cuts his own hair half the time. And so I was pretty pumped to see the outcome. And I'm doing my thing, and I'm texting him, you know, as time goes by, wondering like, how is it going? No response. None.
Because I was being assaulted.
Anyway, he finally lets me know that he's done, and I'm like, oh, awesome, how'd it go? Nothing. Zero. No text back. Absolute silence. I'm like, oh, God. Oh, no, he's never going to do this for himself again. Anyway, so he shows up at my salon while I'm still in the middle of my, services, and he sits down and proceeds to tell me and my stylist like all the things that went wrong, and his hair looked fantastic, I will say, and the beard trim did look good, but his face was just red as all hell, and just him telling about, you know, all the sports on TV and the different and how loud it was, and you know, it was very much a bro cutting his hair, and I was like, I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry. It's just this town. It's this town.
Yeah. And you know what? I have to say, when we lived in Texas, shortly before we moved from Texas, I did find a place that I liked. And they did a good job. They had too much of a revolving door of barbers in there, so I never felt like I got the same service every time, but I liked it. But I don't know, going to a place that like does grooming, like the beard trim and all of that, like I loved how it came out. But that is one thing I don't know. Maybe if you have like, you know, a ZZ Top beard or whatever like that, having it more groomed professionally makes sense. But for someone like me that kind of keeps it just a little bit longer than maybe like stubble length, it grows so fast that, you know, a beard trim at that level was like 35 or 40 bucks, and it's undone by nature the next day, at least if you're me. You know, I can shave at 6 a.m. and that 5 o'clock shadow is a lot more than just a little hint of a shadow by 6. So I felt a little weird about that one. But yeah, we'll see if I spend that kind of money on myself again. Maybe it'll be another I don't know how old I am, 44 years. And then I'll do it again. So stay tuned. All right. Thank you for the side quest, indulging us. I see that I am now behind. Surprise, surprise. Coffee Connoisseur kicks things off with, I love this, ordered a second pair of A9s for stereo pairing. I love that. I love that for you. I too will be doing something like that in the not too distant future. Oh, I didn't tell you. Do you know who we got contacted this morning? I'm talking to you, babe. We got contacted this morning by one of the companies, aftermarket companies, that customizes the A9. You remember that video that we saw on Local Project where that surf designer in Australia who had the house that they just plucked out of both of our minds?
Oh, yeah, they had the
blue A9
cover on the A9.
That company,
that was really awesome.
That company emailed us this morning.
They did.
That company emailed us this morning and would love for us to spec out some custom covers for our home.
That's awesome.
So we will be maybe covering that in the not too distant future.
What a coincidence.
Yeah. Second pair of A9s. That's so awesome. So awesome. Hope you enjoy them like we enjoy ours.
Coffee Connoisseur.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Nice. Parth Patel is our second question. Ready to review Kef Zeo soundbar. Initial thoughts. Well, if you follow me on Instagram or you saw our community post, obviously the Zeo's right there. The review is not like imminent. I have been testing it extensively now for a week straight. There are some issues. I'm in the middle of drafting up a letter email to Kef's representatives to get some official answers on the record. If you saw my story yesterday, you saw my post, I'm not saying that the bar is bad. I'm just saying that maybe you want to hit pause until we get some official word as to what might be behind some of the issues that I've already found and the issues I continue to find. So that's all I'm going to say about that. The review is coming. I thank Kef for sending us a loaner for review. This is not a piece that we're keeping or get to keep. There was none of that. But there are some issues.
Yeah, it's definitely not sponsored.
It's not sponsored. There's some issues.
Not that we do sponsored reviews.
Kef is aware that I have found stuff, and now I'm in the process of drafting my communication to them so that they can give me on the record answers or explanations for what I'm running into. Because unfortunately, no one has mentioned these things. Although upon posting my story yesterday, I had a number of people direct message me on Instagram asking if what I was discovering was X, Y, and Z. And then I responded to them. I said, that is in fact what I'm running into. So I'm not on an island with the issues I'm finding. Early customers, real world customers out there are running into the exact same issues. So I'm going to try and get to the bottom of it. You know I will. But that's where we are with the Kef. So, and then, someone wrote to me, I think on the community page, saying, be sure to test it with the wireless subwoofer. To that individual, Kef did not send the wireless subwoofer for use with this. Now, I have a KC92 and a wireless kit, and I will be including that in my testing. However, the true wireless subwoofer that if you go on like Crutchfield or something, you can see this bar bundled with that for like $5,000 or $4,500. They did not send me that. They sent me only the bar, but I still have a KC92 in my possession. So we will be covering subwoofer integration, but it won't be that kind of true wireless subwoofer package that they are promoting. But I think if nothing gets fixed, we might not make it that far into the review. So, all right, here we go. Hope that answers your question, Parth. Thank you very much. Vadim, hey y'all. It's great to hear you both. Hope all is well and everyone has a fun live. What's the most disappointing non-tech piece you got this year and the one that has exceeded all expectations? Well, I will tell you what the most disappointing thing has been all year. And that is, again, a lack of proper customer service and people just being able to do their job. We are trying to finish up this damn yard.
And this might be a little bit of a side quest.
A little bit of a side quest
for you, Vadim, because I know your question was specifically. Oh wait, no, I'm the one that's not
non-tech
reading.
piece.
Non-tech piece.
Yes. So he asked. We're going there.
Apologies.
So we're desperate to finish this yard project. It's been over a year that we've been working on this, and we're at the finishing stages, and we're just trying to get, some landscaping and stuff brought in, and Kristi found a company, and they do gravel, according to their website, they do all types of landscaping, all types, including artificial turf, blah, blah, blah. They came out for an estimate yesterday, and initially I felt the guy was jovial, maybe not my absolute cup of tea, but he showed up on time, smiled, brought samples. I was into it. And we were getting to the point where we were wrapping things up, and Kristi says, "Oh, when you do the quote it with and without the AstroTurf." And he goes, "I can't do that."
And I asked, and I said, why? We don't do jobs that are just
Gravel.
rock installation.
Yeah.
And I just was like, why?
You're a landscaping
And
company.
he pointed to his T-shirt, which had had branding on it,
Yeah.
and said, because we're blank luxury lawns and something another.
Yeah, not luxury gravel. And
I was just like, and I just said, well, I guess we're done here.
yeah, she ended
I don't
it.
have time for the bullshit, guys. I am just over it. Okay? I don't know if anyone else is with all the dumb stuff happening in the world. I mean, the amount of just mediocre, idiotic, so sorry if I'm going to offend anyone, men who are out in this world just running around freely with the confidence of 100 white men just fired inside them.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
It was
Amazing.
It was
amazing.
It was pretty something to have him literally point to his own shirt going, because we're luxury lawn, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
yeah, and of course, poor Andrew, he's in the middle.
I'm in the middle. At this point, I just
and wants to just die inside a hole. And I look at him, and in my brain, I'm like, why aren't you more upset? Because this is ridiculous. Because you know what? Just real quick, and then we'll get back to your questions. I got this company's information because they were referenced and linked to an actual rock quarry type of a business that sells only gravel and large rocks. You know what I'm talking about, people? And so when he said that, I just was like, I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I literally am living in the Twilight Zone right now. Anyway.
So to wrap it up, To wrap it up, I did my best to play mediator. We got through it, and we got our quote this morning. $26,000 for some rock. And we've gotten multiple quotes, and when I say that this quote is high, it's like 4x our highest quote up until this point. So clearly, I think he bid the job knowing either that he didn't want to do it after we were like, we want something with or without turf. I don't know, but yeah, we were just before we went live, we got the quote, and we were having coffee, and I pulled it up on my phone, and I'm like, I almost spit my coffee out because I was like, you got to be kidding me. Oh, it was crazy. So anyway.
Yeah, he doubled over with laughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He was like, oh, I just got the quote. It's $26,000. And I'm like, for what? And mind you guys, it's not like we're, putting out rock or turf on like an acre of land.
No.
We're talking about
350 square
yeah.
feet of turf.
Yeah.
And then about
But
9
here's-
tons of small gravel.
Here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. The guy quoted $21,000 for riprap
Yeah.
to go on like a few hundred feet of
hillside.
hillside, and it's not even that big of a hill.
Yeah.
Anyway.
For those of you that, we live in
I don't get it.
more desert kind of climate, and we do have some elevation on our property, and riprap is just, it's a large chunk of rock, really, and it just helps with erosion control. And we get some heavy rains from now and again.
We live
and
in the desert.
We live in the desert. Monsoon season is July, August, and so we want to control erosion best we can. We're trying to be good stewards of our land. And riprap is kind of garbage rock that people throw in places to help with erosion. The most outrageous riprap price that we have had up until this point for 300 some linear feet was like $6,000. And this dude came in at 21,000. 21,000 for junk rock.
I'm pretty sure we got assessed an a-hole tax, which
probably
is fine.
Which is fine. Anyway,
But give me a break.
Anyway, the second part of Vadim's question, the one piece of tech that has exceeded all expectations. Again, not putting any of my HiFi favorites or anything down. I'm saving. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we've done so far has been great, but for me on a personal level, the one piece of tech that I've purchased for myself or for the family that I didn't expect to absolutely fall in love with, our frickin' treadmill.
Oh, yeah.
Our frickin' treadmill. Nordic Track.
He walks on that thing. He uses that thing like it's his job.
I am addicted to our stupid treadmill. I'm addicted to it. I'm so into it at this point that I have notes. Nordic Track, if you're listening, like I know how to take the 1750, which is what we have. I know how to take the 1750 to the next level. So when Gen 3 is ready, call me. I can tell you everything you need to fix. Everything. Not that it's not already great, but yeah, we've had it now 5 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. And according to Nordic Track, I've done 83 miles of walking and jogging in 5 weeks. I frickin' love it. Okay. Shay writes, hello, newish to the channel, welcome. I grew up in Deadwood and built my first system by washing dishes at the Bullock Hotel in middle school in the 90s. All Pioneer receiver, 12-disc player, and 15-inch three-way. That's awesome. That's awesome. I can picture what those Pioneer products must have looked like, because when I was in middle school and high school in the 90s, a friend of mine whose parents were attorneys, he got a whole like stereo stack for like his for his 16th birthday, he got a Volvo. And then for his 17th birthday, he got like this whole Pioneer rack system, which I just thought was the coolest thing because I still had my little Sony boombox. But yeah, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It sounds like a lot of fun. Max, do you ever get those evenings where everything is just right? Got a lovely glass of wine with Mozart Requiem on Biolab 1s. Do you listen to classical music? I do. And yes, I have those evenings quite frequently, and not to sound like a fanboy or nothing, but they often come in front of B&O speakers. For me, I have an old-fashioned that I've made myself, and listening to something. I do listen to classical music. Admittedly, I don't listen to a lot of the OGs. Your Mozart, your Beethovens, not that I'm, Vivaldi's and things like that, not that I'm not aware of them, but I'm a little bit more new classical or neoclassical. But yeah, I have had those evenings quite a bit, and with some more regularity now that we've slowed down kind of our schedule a little bit. So yeah.
Speaking of old fashions, did you see the?
I saw what you sent me, and that, Oh, she sent me this reel on Instagram. We send each other. If you're married and you're not sending each other reels, are you really married?
We'll be sitting right next to each other
Yeah.
on the couch, and
Yeah,
he'll
it's-
be like, "Did you? I sent you a bunch of stuff. Did you?"
If the show is really boring or the movie sucks, I'll just sit there and I'll be like, she's gonna laugh at this, and then I'll send it like a stealth missile. I'll just be like this, and then just go back to watching the show. And if I don't hear it, then I'm like, she didn't see it, you know. But she sent me this reel, and it was a gentleman. He's like, "Has this ever happened to you?" And he was filming this guy making an old fashioned, and it was just brutal watching him make it. And I was like, "That's happened to me. That's happened to me."
Basically, what happened is the guy took some lemon, or maybe it was an orange wedge, and
Yeah.
then started muddling it in the bottom of the glass.
Yeah.
And then put a couple of whatever the liquor is, bourbon or whatnot, and then filled the whole glass with club soda out of the tap thing.
Yeah, it was.
And it was hilarious because he is such a connoisseur of old fashions and makes a fantastic one himself. And so when he gets served absolute slop, it's always hilarious for me as the viewing party
Yeah.
to just watch his heart just kind of die inside.
Because there's very few things that I look forward to and that I hold in such high esteem that I kind of judge. I don't want to say I judge people, but I judge an establishment, like on the level of their attentiveness to certain drinks. Like if I go to a nice restaurant and either we're at the bar waiting for a table, or the waiter or waitress comes by and asks, if we want anything to drink. If you can say, "I would like a sidecar martini," and they don't pause for a second and go, "What's that?" Or, "Well, what's in that?" Or go, "Absolutely," and then come back and ask you, they're already a notch above. But if you order an old fashioned and they ask for, if you have a preference in the spirit, that's fine. I don't mind that. But yeah, I've been some places where you're like, "Old fashioned," the guy's like, "Yeah, coming right up," and they just like plunge their hand into like the ice bucket and like 3 or 4 normal Half Moon cubes in there, and then they just have a bottle from the it's all pre-made. And I'm not necessarily against old fashions where they make a lot in advance, but if that's all you're doing, especially without like craft ice, I'm just like, this better be $1.99. And then a lot of places they'll give you that service and they'll hit you with that $16 drink charge, and you're just like, what? So anyway, Wirehead says Clearasil to avoid future facial assaults.
That's a joke.
Oh, okay. I was going to say Clearasil is what I put on my face in high school, and it might be the reason why my skin is so damn sensitive as an adult, because I remember back in high school, man, Clearasil, those we used to just rub like the pads that were just soaked in kerosene, just it's like I sometimes wondered, being a smoker at that time in my life, if I lit up a cigarette too close to after washing my face, if my whole head was going to go up in flames. Anyway, coming from a Project turntable and actives, recently upgraded to Marantz turntable, Mission 700, HiFi Rose 280, Wim Ultra. Aesthetic is important to me. Great sound and looks good. Thanks for the help. Wow. So this is the same, Shay, this is the same person that had the Pioneer system back in the 90s. You have come a long way, my friend. You have definitely come a long way. That sounds like a killer setup. Oh, and it goes on. Shay, thank you so much for your questions here. I now live in a small apartment. Speaker placement is kind of static. Would you recommend DSP for my situation? Wim Ultra has some capability, but not sure how well the room correction works. The beautiful thing about room correction, especially in products like the Wim Ultra, is it's non-invasive. It's non-invasive. You can try it, see if it works for you, and if it doesn't, just erase the correction, default, go back to default, and then we look for other solutions. That's what I love about digital and DSP and modern tech is it's non-committal editing. It's something that you get to try, you get to tweak, you get to play with, learn something for yourself, figure out what works for you, and make it your own. And that's what's great. So the WIM Ultra does have some room correction capability, and you can use it. You can also just as easily, if you like that but want to take it a step further, you can use the parametric EQ or PEQ features inside the WIM and use free software like Room EQ Wizard. You're going to have to go get your own microphone. I use the UMic 1, UMic 2, but you can use that and create your own filters through Room EQ Wizard and then apply those inside the WIM as well. And that may give you an extra layer or level of control that maybe their auto system doesn't provide for. So you've got a couple of options that don't require you to really spend a lot of money. A UMic 1 is going to set you back, I think, $100. And it's a really invaluable tool, especially if you're playing with speaker placement a little bit. You could get the UMic 1, run sweeps through your system, through Room EQ Wizard, and see what the frequency response is of your current speakers without any EQ, and use that to help you adjust. Should they come a little forward? Should they come a little back? Should they come together a little bit further apart? And you would be amazed, and I get into this. I get into this on Sunday's video. But you would be amazed what even an inch here or there does for the response of your speakers in your room. So definitely give the equalization inside the WIM a shot, definitely, and go from there. Old Canton Carrot 300s, upgraded crossovers now sound great, but Sonos amp feels limiting. Looking for vintage or modern amp that brings out their full potential. Budget 2 to 3K suggestions. I'm not 100% familiar. I mean, I know about Canton, but I'm not 100% familiar with that particular speaker. So I'm just going to say the Sonos amp feels limiting. I think you might be a candidate for maybe a non-chip based amplifier or a beefier Class D architecture, or a Class AB. Let's see. Well, we were just talking about, the previous gentleman was saying that he upped to the HiFi Rose R8 or R280. That is a Class D or Class AD, whatever marketing you want to believe, integrated, that I believe is $2,500, that I have put on some pretty primo speakers, and it has had no issues. Another Class D product that is good is the Technics, R700 Mark II. That's going to run you about $17.99, I think. You've got Yamaha RA 1000 or 2000. Those come in under the $3,000 mark. Those are Class AB amps. Those are very good. If you want, it's an oldie but a goodie. I still think you can get it. I want to say that it might be close to that $3,000 mark, but the Rotel 1592 Mark II is an integrated with a built-in DAC that will drive anything. It'll drive your Cantons. Maybe it won't drive 7-foot tall towers or whatever, but it'll drive a lot. Yeah, those are some options. Those are some options. If you want to stick with the small form factor though, and give yourself some flexibility with room correction, I don't want to sleep on this one. The Marantz M1. The Marantz M1, $999 or $899. I think it got a price decrease. Imagine that. You're going to have to pay for the Dirac upgrade, but it does have the ability to now have Dirac, And that's 100 watts, and that drives everything really well too. And it has virtualization, which is amazing for taking a 2-channel system and giving it a little bit more of that surround sound flair. Those would be my recommendations. Speaking of Technics, the Marklar. Hey, Andrew, I made the leap. I purchased the Technics R1000. Love it.
Such a good
9-inch nails never sounded so amazing. Dusting off my turntable this weekend. Wanted to thank you and Kristi for all the hard work you do. Officially off the roller coaster. Marklar, you're there, man. You have arguably, in the last decade alone, you have arguably one of the best amplifiers that's ever been made, in my humble opinion. It is fantastic. It never ceased to amaze, and I think it has one of the best phono preamps out there right now, if you don't mind that it digitizes the analog signal. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it for many, many years to come, and I'm so glad. I hope you continue to watch. I understand if you don't, but I hope you continue to watch for entertainment value, because honestly, there's nothing more you need. You're there. As long as you're happy, you're there.
And speaking of 9-inch nails, I think they may be on tour right now.
I think so too, and I think they did the score for the new Tron movie, which is their first album in many, many years, I think.
That sounds right.
Revibe Creative. Any interest in reviewing Theory Audio products? The SB25 with the matching amplifier looks incredible from the Spinorama data that I've seen. Theory Audio, if you guys will permit me real quick. I got to see if I... Uh-oh. Here we go. Let me see if I am thinking of the same thing. Theory Audio. Are these all in-walls? Oh no, we had some... No? These are all... These look like in-walls to me. Correct me if I'm wrong. Needless to say, since I'm obviously having to Google them in real time here, there are no immediate plans to review them. You are bringing a brand to my attention for the very first time. As far as in-walls go, if we are talking about the same thing, they look intriguing. I may have to give them a little bit deeper dive on the internet here later, but that's all I got. Joey the Dime. In the last few years, it, quote, seems like there has been a decline in traditional 2-channel audio equipment sales and new product introductions. Are you noticing this? I am not noticing that. If anything, there may be a decline in adoption of traditional 2-channel audio setups among the populace, but in terms of product introductions, I don't think that, again, I don't have any hard data to back this up, but I don't believe that's true. I think if anything, if we take into account the global market and the absolute proliferation of small products that seem to be released every 2 to 4 weeks, boy, it's almost endless, the number of products that come out in every fiscal quarter. Now, if we ignore those types of products and we focus on the big 5 or 10 brands that have more of that sort of mainstay name, your Marantzes, your Denons, your Sonys, your, those types of brands, maybe they, although Marantz, I would argue, has not slowed down at all. But yeah, like Sony they put out new products maybe every 3 to 5 years in that market. TVs, they're every year. But their receivers, their stuff is usually every 3 to 5. Macintosh tends to have 1 or 2 products a year. But they've always kind of been that way. Rotel's been a little slow as of late. Mark Levinson has definitely slowed down. So I guess there's brands and options or examples, I should say, examples that kind of back up what you're saying. But I think on the whole, having to take into account WIMs and Ever Solos and SMSLs and Fossies and stuff like that, like I don't think there's been a slowdown at all. If anything, there's an oversaturation. It just may not look the same as it always has, but it's definitely there. I think we could do with less. Question: Your Klipsch La Scala AL5 review is one of my favorites you have done. I'm looking to purchase a pair of the AL6 and possibly pair them with something like a TS120 or Prima Luna. Thoughts? I really wish that I could bring you my absolute kind of definitive thoughts by this point. So we were contacted this week. The AL6s were scheduled to arrive this week. And we were contacted, I think yesterday or day before, letting us know that they are now delayed again. And so we are now shooting for them to be delivered in late August. So I have not had any real world in-home experience with the new AL6s. From what I understand and based on the white sheets, there's quite a bit different between the AL5 and the AL6, despite the two speakers visually looking identical. There's been quite a bit of reworking behind the scenes in the crossover and whatnot. And then, of course, there's the active system for it and all this stuff. So I don't know what I would recommend, how I would recommend anyone go about putting a system around the AL6s, because I haven't yet tried it myself. Prima Luna with AL5s, yeah, it'd probably be a pretty good thing. But I can't say one way or the other if either of those choices makes sense for the AL6, given all the changes. Sorry. Javier, thank you very much. I'm not seeing, oh, here it is. Andrew, I recently heard Kef R11 with Marantz, and why?
Oh, yes. I replied to Javier to say that I felt that
I don't understand the
their
question.
comment was incomplete.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that they would chime in with what they were meaning, but
You're not seeing
I'm
it?
scrolling through the comments and I don't see
Okay.
anything. So
Javier, if you're still there, clarify, please. It does seem like you might have gotten cut off here. Do you think it's worth pairing the Cinema 30 with the Amp 20 ICW? A 5.1.2 set of Sonos Faber. Okay. Do you think it's worth pairing the Cinema 30 with an Amp 20 for a 5.1.2 setup? Honestly, I would try your setup with just the Cinema 30 first. I'm not saying that the Amp 20 isn't great, but you might be amazed with how good the Cinema 30 is on its own, given that, we're talking about a 5.1.2 setup. The Cinema 30 can do that, You may find that maybe you only need to augment it with a stereo amplifier. You don't need to go the full $6,000 on an Amp 20. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of an Amp 20. It's a good product, but I think people are too quick to overlook like the performance they're buying and the quality that they're buying in something like a Cinema 30. I mean, that's $5,000 AVR. Put it to the test. Because if you can get away with it, isn't that great? Isn't that better than spending $5 and then throwing another $6 on top of it? Now, if you want to go, balls to the wall, then by all means, the Amp 20 will do it. The Amp 20 drives pretty much anything. As long as you like the sound of that absolute neutrality, go for it. But I really think it's worth trying the Cinema 30 with your setup on its own to see if that doesn't make you happy.
Oh, sorry. I have it combined with the B&W AM1s. Oh, wait, I think they're talking, Pars is talking with someone else. Never mind.
Okay.
I thought maybe it was relevant.
Okay. I appreciate it. Mark Gibson, hello, subbed you for ages. Time for a question. Okay, here we go. Is it really critical to have the same model range for cinema in fronts for home cinema? I mean, really critical. Loving kindness to you both. Is it mission critical? Super critical? No. Is it better? Potentially more ideal from a tonality standpoint? Yes. But if you're running something like Dirac or Odyssey on top of mix-matched speakers, and you are applying, say, their flat house curve, their reference house curve, things like that, and we're just talking movies, are you necessarily going to notice giant shifts in tonality or timbre? The potential is always there, so I'm not going to say definitively no. The potential is always there, especially if say you're trying to mix, like, this is an extreme example. You've got a Polk R700 for your right and left mains, and you got a great smoking deal on, say, a 20-year-old Martin Logan electrostatic center channel. You found one on eBay for like $600. You're probably going to notice some tonal changes there. There's going to be a shift in tonality as, the ball or the car goes from left to right, right to left. But if you're talking Polk R700 to a center channel, KEF Q series center that just came out, you don't need new towers, but the center channel works for you and it's a KEF. You're fine. You're fine. Not saying that they're going to be perfect matches, but I don't think that they're going to be different enough that you'll be sitting on your couch watching a movie going, oh my God, this is unbearable. So helpful if they're kind of in the same family, yes. Absolutely mission critical, not necessarily. 7 pints down, BL2 shifting like a Viking war horn. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it means
but
either.
I'm
7 pints though.
That's a lot of a lot of beer, right?
That's impressive.
BL2 shifting like a Viking war horn. Okay. Yes, Max. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Peter. Maybe I know what Peter means. I have the Marantz M1 connected to a pair of monitor audio outdoor speakers with a sub.
Max chimes in Baolab.
Baolab 2 shifting like a Viking war horn.
I'm assuming that's a good thing.
Hold on. Baolab.
Or the beer is really kicking in for Max.
Oh, the Baolab 2 subwoofer. Despite being a Bang & Olufsen customer, I sometimes have to look these up to make sure I'm thinking of the right model. Baolab 2 subwoofers. So Max is drinking and playing some bass. It sounds like he's having fun. Okay, Peter, I didn't forget you. I have a Marantz M1 connected to a pair of monitor audio outdoor speakers with a sub on a transmitter, and the sound around my pool is incredible, and Hios is great. Any reviews on outdoor audio or best practices to set up? Well, Peter, without knowing, you just gave me a great segue to the next side quest, and that is an update on what's going on here at our house. Yes, we are going to be doing some outdoor stuff. I actually am in the middle of, I think, getting what I need for the outdoor stuff sent to me. Although there was a little bit of confusion earlier in the week, so hopefully that's been cleared up. But yes, we will be tackling some outdoor stuff, hopefully not too soon, or not too long from now, sooner than later. August is going to be a really, really stressful month for us, or for me at least, because second week of August, we have a crew coming in, and so our house is actually really old. It was flipped or renovated or whatever just before we bought it, but the core of our house is 40, 50 years old. And even though they renovated it or they flipped it, they had it down to the studs, they put in zero infrastructure. And I'm not joking, we do not have a single phone tap. And I get that everyone uses cell phones and stuff like that, but like there's no telephone line in this home. There is no Ethernet connection in this home. There's nothing. Like when I'm streaming, I'm not kidding. When I stream, I have a 150-foot Cat 6 or whatever cable that I'm running from my MacBook right here all the way to the back of our house where our internet provider poked a single coaxial through. And we've gotten by on, Wi-Fi routers and extenders for as long as we can while we've been trying to figure out like what we're doing and what we want to do and how we want to live in this house. But obviously it makes certain things very difficult to do. And, it kind of all came to a head when we did the Kaleidoscape review, because one of the things, the Kaleidoscape, price and what you think of it notwithstanding, one of the things it absolutely needs is a high-speed internet connection. And while we have a fiber-like connection to our house, we have no way to get that fiber-like speed to any room in our house unless I run this giant long umbilical, which I do when necessary for things like streaming and live streaming and stuff to test the Kaleidoscape. But it's just gotten to be too much. It's gotten to be too much. No one likes to have a 150-foot cable just running along their floor. It's not sexy. So I just said, F it. And we have installers coming in the first or second week of August. I don't know where it falls on the calendar. And there's gonna be about 5 guys in here for a day, and we're tearing the house open and dropping lines everywhere. And of course, I'm gonna be documenting this. I'm gonna be turning it into a video. We're gonna be talking about what we're using, why we're using it. This is phase 1. I've had to break the project down into multiple phases. I don't know when phase 2 is gonna be, and I don't know when phase 3 is gonna be, because I will level with you. Phase 1 is already expensive enough.
And considering we just got a $26,000 quote for rock.
Yeah. Which we're not taking. I don't have $26,000 just lying around. I'm barely going to be able to pull off this infrastructure build, to be honest with you. And I am serving as my own finisher. So I'm going to be patching and replastering all of the holes myself and repainting and doing all of this stuff. And to be honest with you, I'm really looking forward to it. I am. I really can't wait. But part of this build and part of this construction that we're now going to be doing is we are going to have a central, I call it the brain. We're going to have a central brain in this house where it will enable us down the road not only to have high-speed connections in every room in this house, including outside, but it will also allow us down the road to do video distribution, audio distribution, in a much more meaningful and connected and stable way. And it will also allow me to have certain things rack mounted in a center closet that's being built out in our home that I'll be bringing you and all of that. And I was showing you what we're doing and what we're using, and I will also be showing you and illustrating ways that you can do things even more than what we're doing or even less. But it's been almost a year of kind of coming to grips with like, there's no way around this. We have to do it. And so that's happening. So you will still see videos on Sundays that will make this place look all done up and everything, because I'm shooting all of the B-roll, the pretty stuff, kind of ahead of time in batches. But if you tune in for a camera when I'm telling you my thoughts about a review or whatever, and you're noticing stuff behind me, it looks a little off, now you know why. We're gonna be cutting a lot of holes in this place, and I'll be fixing it. So I know I made a video early in July or maybe late June where I said I've had it with my media room. I know it didn't happen the next week or the week after, but it's upon us now. I think we're about 2 weeks out from we're going to seriously start making this place look really, really different. Uh-oh. My YouTube crashed. Guys, I hope I didn't lose you.
I still have you.
You still have me?
I think I'm maybe a second behind.
Okay. Well, I'm still back up here. If you give me a second, I got to reconnect my chat box. That always happens when this fails.
They can still hear you, and
Okay.
others are chiming in saying that they're all good. So
Okay.
maybe it's just you?
Maybe it's just me, and let's hope that it is. So if I was on Peter. Okay. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I just got to fix a little piece of code here because this happens. Technical difficulties. 2 seconds. I might go away again on you.
It's a blank screen, but
Yep, I think
now you're back.
we're back in business. I fixed all the errors. So sorry about that. Okay, so Peter, yes. Long story short, thank you for the side quest. But yes, outdoor audio is on my list, and part of the wiring and structure work, or wiring and infrastructure work that we're doing in early August includes some outdoor wiring. So yes, it's coming. Wirehead says, thank you, Andrew, for the info, depth, and integrity. Thank you. I don't know specifically what info you're referring to or if it's more of a general statement, but you're welcome. Thank you. Jeff, did you see the new Eversolo Play with CD player? I did. I saw it. I have the Eversolo Play in-house, the one without the CD player. I have it. I've been playing with it off and on. Look, I don't have anything bad to say about it. To be honest, I don't. It does what everything else does because it's literally just like everything else. And I don't mean this as a slight against Eversolo. I don't mean this as a slight against Wim or anyone else that's kind of making the same product over and over and over again. But I don't know how to review these things. I don't know what to say about them. I really, really don't. They are the same product every single time. Sometimes they add a screen. Most of the feature set is the app. So they're constantly updating these apps, which is fantastic, but I mean, it's great for the end user, the customer, but it's also frustrating as a reviewer because I could commit 3 weeks to reviewing something like the Eversolo Play, and then by the time my review comes out, they've done like 6 updates on it, in which case people are like, well, what about this feature? I'm like, I didn't have that feature when I reviewed it. So I appreciate the lightning speed that some of these products and some of these brands work. I'm also kind of frustrated by it because it's almost as if, you're using the customer base to find bugs and beta test, and I applaud you for fixing them rapidly. But I'm also kind of on this island, I think. I don't know if many people feel the same way I do, but I'm kind of on this island where it's just like, did Eversolo need to make something like the Play? Sure. They didn't really have a Wim competitor. But like, which Wim do you compare it to? Because Wim has the Amp Ultra, the this, the that. It's just like, and now there's a Play, with a CD player, and then there's one without a CD player, and it's pretty aggressive in how these products are starting to kind of flood into the market, and it's just marginal differences. I mean, honestly, when I tested our Wim amp, and I think we have a Wim amp Pro. I don't even know which one it is now. When I tested the Wim amp in an A to B against the Play, like, I kind of feel like the Whim is a little bit better. Like it sounded a little bit better, but at the same time, like they both have their limitations. They both run into similar issues. You know, I know that a lot of people think that I'm BSing you when I say that, you know, because you'll sit there and say that, oh, I can play my speakers up to 100 dB and there's, you know, it's perfect. And it's like, for whatever reason in my room, I can't. These speakers or these amps really start to compress and compress hard at around 72 to 75 dB in room. Maybe I'm weird and I just need to shut my mouth and not talk about these products, but there's a lot of features, there's a lot of software. They're obviously cheap or relatively inexpensive. I just don't know what to say. I don't find them all that exciting. And I'm not trying to be an elitist pig. It's just when products are released with the frequency that I go through paper towels or toilet paper, it's really hard to feel like you're engaged in something that's special. And I'm just at this stage of my life, I guess, where it's like, I want to feel like I'm having a special experience. Call me old fashioned, but it's one of those things too, like lately, you know, another side quest, here we go. You know, one of the things that Kristi and I enjoy doing, you know, for a couple minutes here and there, is we like looking at like old cars. And lately I've been finding more and more that like, I like a car with some buttons and some switches. And I'm not saying I want a vintage, you know, everyone needs to buy vintage audio and meters are better and remember the time when, you know, it's, you know, the 70s. I'm not saying that, because I'll admit to you, I want Apple CarPlay, but I also don't want my entire interaction with my vehicle to be like I'm looking at my phone. So there's kind of this middle of the road situation. You know, I like Mercedes. Mercedes is my brand. I love their cars. I don't think I would buy a new Mercedes at all. Like, just looking at them, like, I can appreciate it, but at the same time, like, if I wanted to look at an iPad while driving a car, then I'd Uber and just look at an iPad, you know? Whereas early 2000s Mercedes, late 90s Mercedes, 80s Mercedes, like, there's enough of the creature comforts, there's enough of the modern tech in there where you can have that sort of tactile, emotional, special feeling again with some modern conveniences. And with things like the Whim and the Ever Solo, like, I marvel at what's possible, but none of it feels all that special, and none of it feels all that unique, and none of it feels, it doesn't inspire me. I don't really look forward to listening to it. It's sort of, I look at it the same way that I look at a computer, and it's like, it's a tool. It's a tool, and I don't want a tool. I want something that's higher than that, better than that. And better is relative, better is subjective. But I want to feel something different than, oh, I'm using my phone. I'm using my, you know, my tablet, my computer. I'm using a hammer, you know. So maybe I'm weird. Can't wait for what comments I'm going to get for that one. Matthew, I have a Pioneer VSX 23 THX Elite receiver paired with Klipsch reference speakers R40M, R50C, R41M surrounds. I'm limited to optical for surround sound. Would the Pioneer Elite LX805 be worth the upgrade? I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Pioneers are on deep, deep discount. Would it be worth the upgrade? Sonically, I can't answer that for you because I don't know the types of sounds and whatnot that you respond to, how you respond to those, what you're chasing. I will say this much though. If you're currently in the optical kind of maxed out at Dolby Digital surround world, jumping up to a modern piece of tech that has Dolby Atmos capability, better DSP, and in the case of the Pioneer, room correction, that is likely going to yield positive dividends. That will likely be a different experience for you. And I'm not going to say you need to do it, but in this instance, I do believe that you will have a different experience. You may think it's great, you may think it's better, or you may actually maybe prefer the old one. But this is an instance where, you know, a lot of people like to ask, like, oh, if I have last year's RZ whatever, am I really gonna? It's like, you're fine, don't worry about it. But I think you would experience a change. Jimmy Kirk, thank you so much. I'm not seeing a question here. Maybe Kristi can.
I don't.
Okay, that's
This
fine.
is why it's so important to attach your question.
Well, I can see that there's a comment on Jimmy's thing.
Probably me.
Okay, because I can't open the comments below the nested
Yes,
thing.
I did. I followed up and was like, "Do you have a question?"
Okay.
And then I reminded everyone to attach your question to the.
Okay.
Oh wait. Oh,
You got it?
I found it.
You found it.
I just wanted to say thank you for all the good work. Andrew is the reason I got myself a pair of Formation Duos.
Oh, man, there's a deep cut. Those are fun speakers, man. The Formation Duos. They need to be updated. I mean, okay, if you have Formation Duos, you're fine. But I'm kind of surprised that like a Gen 2 hasn't been released yet, because, I mean, we did those 5 years ago. And
Oh, it was back in Austin. It seems
it's back in
ages
Austin. It's like
ago.
5 or 6 years ago. So as product cycles go, people that bought in early have definitely gotten their money's worth on that one. But the Formation Duos they're so much fun, and they're so pretty. So pretty. They're great.
I want to say those were the first speakers you were sent that really made me excited about the hobby.
Yeah, you caught the bug on those, for sure. For sure. And we tried to extend the loan as long as we could on those because you liked them so much. So
Hopefully they'll get
an
a
update.
refresh.
A refresh,
you know,
yeah.
something new will come out.
My old ears, Mark writes, my old ears probably couldn't tell the difference between speakers in movie terms. I run the fronts through a Bang & Stereo amp and switch plugs for the AVR. Thank you. Have another pint. This goes back to the question about matching center. So I'm glad I was able to help you out. Pre-Rich, one of our regulars. I appreciate your super chat, your generosity.
I know about this one.
Okay, you know about this one?
This was just oh gosh. I know it was just a thank you.
Uh-huh.
You know, sort of like, thanks for being so awesome. But I've lost the follow-up word. Oh no, oh no.
You found
My
it?
bad. That was somebody else. I think Pre-Rich was thanking me. Or you. I don't know. We've already answered the question.
Okay.
So
Well, thank you back. Thank you back.
oh God.
King of Bluegrass, how do you feel about the Unison Research Unico Primo amp? I've never heard it. And truth be told, the last time I heard anything from Unison Research was probably over a decade ago. I'm aware of the brand. I'm aware of the product. I believe they're under new stewardship or new distribution, which is probably why they're in the zeitgeist now. But I couldn't tell you. I've never seen it, touched it, listened to it. So I don't want to speak out of turn. Sorry. Oh, Max is back. Lads, we are at 9 pints.
Oh God. Wow.
I hope
You're a professional.
I hope you're home and you don't have to go anywhere this evening. And if you do, that you use a driver.
Well, what time is it?
In Europe,
I'm assuming, Max, that you're
it's in the evening.
Is it evening time over there right now? He's Irish, apparently.
Okay.
Well, that's what Phil says. I don't know if that's true.
He's having fun wherever he is.
yeah.
He's going for it.
He's controlling the volume, so I'm assuming he's at home.
He's at home. Convince Monitor Audio to send you a pair of HiFi for review. Real question. My 5-channel Rotel has a biamp option. Worth it for my left and rights plus center or connect the surrounds as well. My 5-channel Rotel has a biamp option. Worth it for my left and rights plus center or connect the surrounds as well. Monitor Audio Golds. What I would do, this I don't want to be a broken record here. Try it both ways and see which way you prefer. I think you can put all 5 of your speakers on the amp, not worry about biamping. On Monitor Audio Golds, I think you're going to be just fine. But give it a shot. Give it a shot. If it makes a big difference for you or you like it, then biamp and then augment, figure out what you need to do for the surrounds later. But for me personally, Monitor Audio Golds, Rotel, I don't know if you need to go to that extreme, but only way to find out is to try it. Joey the Dime, again, downsizing large speakers, moving to a condo with a near field listening position. We'll also use the system for 2-channel video audio. Noodling over Walsh 2000. I have an Eversolo DMP A10 and an AccuPhase E4000. Thoughts? Oh, wow. Well, yet another live stream where I get asked about Walsh speakers, and I can't give you guys the answers you want. DMP A10. Is that the one above what I have? DMP A10. Yes, so that's the one above what I have. Okay, and then the AccuPhase, which I have no experience with, by the way. They don't send us stuff. E4000. Okay. So just based on what I can see of what you have, I think your DAC source streamer in the Eversolo is fine, especially if you're going to use it for mixture of 2-channel HiFi and some TV watching. It's got the HDMI, it's got all the DAC you need. Set it to the volume, don't use the Eversolo as a preamp, send the full signal to your integrated amplifier, control the volume through your integrated amplifier. It may be that you have two remotes because you're going to be giving up maybe HDMI with CEC to control the volume, but you're going to have the best overall experience, in my humble opinion, treating the Eversolo just as a DAC streamer, sending the signal full out, analog to one of the analog inputs on the AccuPhase, rock the volume on the AccuPhase. As for which speakers are the Walsh, that I can't comment on. The Walsh speakers, those are omnidirectional. Walsh 2000. Walsh 2000 speakers. Yeah, those have the radial omnidirectional. I mean, yeah, they're going to work in a near field situation. They will. They'll work. I think you might have a really nice experience. It's the best I got. I have the KEF LS52 with the KC62 sub. Heard BLab 28s in a Munich store. Consider buying. Will I notice a difference? Plus, is loss of HD streaming a big deal, or just go for it? No regrets. Oh, we're at a magnitude different experience going from an LS52 and a sub to the 28s. Nothing against KEF and the LS52s, but the BLab 28 is in a different tier. Are you going to notice a difference? Yeah, you are. And the 28, especially with installation and delivery and things like that, which you should get if you buy them from a dealer, a Bang & Olufsen dealer. They're going to tune those. And you have wide dispersion, you have narrow dispersion. You can set those things up in a number of different ways and run room correction in the whole bit. The KC62 may, on paper, play a hertz here or there deeper potentially, but I don't think you're going to notice. Is the loss of HD streaming a big deal? Not for me. Not for me, it isn't. If you have the budget and this is something you're considering, I would do it. I don't want to spend your money. I don't want to talk out of turn, but in my humble opinion, the 28s, the experience of living with them, the experience of listening to them, interacting with them is markedly more refined than the KEF. Love your focus on aesthetics. Thanks for the Instagram reply. Told someone a $500 analog filter won't help a digital LAN port, but they swore it sounded better. Why is this hobby so grumpy, unlike other hobbies? How do you deal with it? That is a great question. I don't know if this hobby is so grumpy compared to other hobbies. I see some pretty snarky, grumpy stuff in some of the other things.
Maybe look into the camera more, okay?
I see some pretty grumpy stuff on some of the other things that I occasionally watch on YouTube. Some of the watch channels that I frequent, those comments get pretty out of pocket as well.
The interior design community seems a very
sane.
They seem like a very sane, well balanced.
Until you get
community.
too trendy. Like if you start whitewashing everything, you seem to split the audience right in half. People that really like that and other people that are now going to make react videos about like, what are you doing? I think it's just the nature of the internet, to be honest. How do I deal with it? Some days I'm better than others, to be honest. Yesterday I had a really bad day with dealing with it, like internally in my brain.
You did?
Yeah. Yesterday I was...
Did I know this?
Nothing you haven't heard before. Yesterday was not a good day for me in terms of like how I was feeling about the hobby or my job or this and that. Not that I wanted to quit or anything like that. It's just like kind of bringing us back to like the Ever Solo stuff from a moment ago. It's just like sometimes a lot of it is it's just noise. It's just noise. And lately, internally, when I'm walking on the treadmill, I'm searching for something more, Like lately, Kristi and I, we've been watching, Fashion Week was just a couple of weeks ago in Paris. So we've been catching up on the runway stuff, and I have no intention of wearing any of that stuff or affording any of that stuff. I like seeing the craftsmanship. The Dolce & Gabbana thing, okay, that notwithstanding, that looked weird on the runway, but then they were very smart to release these like 2-minute documentaries on how some of the pieces were made, and it made me feel like an absolute a-hole. Because as the runway show was happening, I'm like, what the... Like, what is that? That's like a Party City looking whatever. I was like those bad React videos. But then you watch the 2-minute documentary and you're just like, oh, shoot. That was not made of plastic at all. That was like hand everything. Ooh. And so you gain an appreciation. You become a better person because you've taken the time to learn about something you didn't understand and better yourself. And I feel like that's more and more what I'm after and what I'm chasing. And I just kind of feel like lately, in the last 2 years or so, it's really just become about rinse and repeat and get it out and, maximize the numbers or stuff like that. And there's not a lot of genuine exploration or fun or emotional connection that seems to be tied to any of this. And that makes me sad. That makes me sad. Like what we're doing in August, I know it sounds boring, but like the infrastructure part of that infrastructure is just part of a much larger endeavor that I'm on and that I've already invested a ton of time and energy and money in because I want to build an experience for myself that I've been chasing for 30 years. I want to see that through. And is that going to be good content? I don't know. But at this point, I want to make it. I want to go down that road just because at least I'm excited about it. I'm connected to it. And I think you'll see that connection as opposed to, yep, this thing hits this mark, this thing does this, and it's new. And so, welcome to the hype train. Not that we do that, but it just feels like even if you don't do that as a channel, you're still part of it, I don't know. But yeah, the thing that teed me off yesterday was I'll fully admit to you, I was banging on this Zeo soundbar, putting it through a barrage of tests, just one after the other, this test, that test. And it just wasn't doing a lot of the things that it was promising. And I'm not disparaging. I'm not trying to disparage anyone or just, if you own it or you bought it or anything like that. It's just, it kind of breaks my heart when I get asked questions all the time. Like, oh, I'm hearing a lot of good things. And then I feel like I'm that a-hole sometimes. And I don't want to be. But I also don't want to lie to you. And I also don't want you to waste your money. Because I know money's always valuable, but I just know that, especially right now, like, we can't all just throw it around willy-nilly. And I get discouraged when I have days like yesterday where I'm like, this literally is not working. And it's not, oh, maybe you got a bad unit. It's not. It's functioning. It's working. I'm just not, I can't look past what are glaring issues. And it frustrates me because more often than not, when I run into these issues and then I talk to manufacturers, we find out like, oh, well, we didn't have that ability to test that. And it's like, then don't put it in your product. Don't put it on sale.
And we don't know that about this
And
particular
we don't,
product.
and again, I'm
Just
off
for the record,
I'm off the
just
kef.
to be
I'm
clear.
speaking more in general terms.
Yes, because it's not like this is the first
No.
time you've run into a product that's not quite functioning the way it's been advertised to.
Yeah.
And so when he is speaking about conversations where you learn that you ultimately learn
Yeah.
that a brand didn't test anything,
Yeah.
or they didn't test their own product against anything else in the field.
Yeah.
And I think where this becomes a bigger issue is when a brand comes out with something that they're not known for.
Yeah.
And again, we're not trying to pick on Kef, and we're not
No.
talking about Kef in this instance, okay? Just want to make sure we're really being really clear. But when a brand comes out with something that they're not known for,
Mm-hmm.
and you let them know, hey, this doesn't work. This, it's not competitive here, or here. What products did you consider when you were coming up with your product?
Mm-hmm.
And you learn
That they didn't.
they really didn't.
Yeah.
And so at that point, it's like, well, this is just a fucking money grab. You know, how else, what other explanation can it be? That, or you're just lazy.
You're just lazy. And at that point, as someone who takes my job seriously, like now I feel like my time has been wasted. My energy has been wasted. And while I get that there's a small portion of the audience that it's like, oh, you got to hold them accountable and do all of this. It's like, understand, like, none of that's fun. None of that's fun, because there's always this tidal wave of bullshit that comes after, either from viewers and the manufacturers, or the viewers celebrate you with whatever. But the manufacturers now just send this tidal wave of bullshit at you.
Well, for me, the part that the hardest pill I have to swallow is when you have conversations like this, and and they typically come after a more critical review.
Always.
And the brand acts surprised.
Yeah.
They act surprised that their product wasn't just considered to be the best thing ever invented. And then, you know, the more you talk, the more you realize, well, you didn't really test anything. So what are we even doing here? Like, how you have some nerve to be upset about a critical review when you didn't, you yourself just told us you didn't really test the product.
Yeah.
So those are the instances, those are the moments, going kind of back, bringing it back to, I'm not going to mess this up, Visha's comment. Like, those are the things that get me, you know, about how the hobby becomes grumpy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I think it just comes from so many different directions, because you've got viewers who are frustrated, you have reviewers who are frustrated, and then obviously brands who need to make their bottom line, you know, they also too become frustrating. But there's the one thing that I think isn't happening is there's not as much accountability happening on everyone's part.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do back to your question, how do you deal with it lately? I walk it out. I get on the treadmill and I just walk it out until it's not in my brain anymore and I can move on. Because I used to get upset. I used to be like, I got to change things. And there's, you know, all I can be in control of is myself. The only thing I can change is myself. And as long as I continue to do what I do and put out the kind of stuff that I would like to see or I want to make, then maybe it has a ripple effect. I don't know. But there's no really kind of getting discussions. I mean, because I've had those conversations with manufacturers, you know, after a review, a critical review, where it's like, well, I sent you a bunch of stuff for official comment and I got marketing speak back. And yeah, we went to press with it. And yeah, the audience saw right through it. And usually in those situations, then all of a sudden you get candid on the phone. And that's when you know, from the brand, because now the review's out, the response is there, and everyone is just hoping that it goes away. But that's when you learn, like, oh, well, we looked into, you know, the specs of something, but we didn't actually physically get the product to test it against our own, or we, admittedly, we haven't had that, or I'm just getting up to speed because I'm new here, or this is built on a platform that predates my tenure with the company. So I have to play catch up. You know more about this than I do. And it's just like, again, going back to what Kristi just said, we understand that, like, companies need to put out products. They need to make sales. They need to, you know, do whatever they do. But at the same time, like, get it right, you know? Better to be late to the party, but be the guest everyone remembers, than be first or loud and everyone wants you to leave. If that makes sense.
I mean, the pressure must be just incredibly
Oh yeah, for sure.
difficult from a company level.
Yeah.
You know,
I wouldn't wanna be
especially if
in.
you're answering to a bunch of shareholders or
Yeah.
people like that, and or just being in a business, like having your own business in
Mm-hmm.
general. If you've never been self-employed, it's difficult to really, really understand what the day-to-day pressures are of running your own business.
Oh, that's its own little side quest. I mean, YouTube, oh boy, let's not mince words. Like everything we have just discussed, you and I, Kristi, it flies in the face of like, let's be real. This channel, what we do here, this is our job. This is our 9 to 5. And I know that viewers have feelings about that, but let's put those feelings aside and let's just pretend, because it is a real business and it is a real job, a career. It's not any different than, an accountant. We show up to work every day. We do our job. We have good days and we have bad days. We have some days that we wish we could take a vacation. We wish we couldn't. I have an amazing job. I'm very grateful for the job that I have. And I do not take it for granted, which is why I take it very seriously and why I become kind of emotionally invested, good or bad, when things don't work or I feel like I have to be the bearer of bad news or I have to get to the bottom of something. Just as equally as I am emotionally invested when I come on camera and I'm like, guys, I want to tell you about how the bass is so good and this is so good. Crashed again. Hold on. Hopefully you didn't lose me. I got to play this programming game one more time, guys, and then I'll finish this. I'll finish up my thought. Just give me 2 seconds. We had a perfect stream last month, and this month, nothing. Okay. Apologies if you got a black screen there. I should be back. Okay, I'm going to put the question back up. There it is. All right. Anyway, so yeah, I love I'm very fortunate. First and foremost, like we're very fortunate to be at the level that we're at on YouTube. This is rare air, and we're not even like a massive, huge channel. There's, we're not Mr. Beast or anything like that, but understand that we're probably in that upper percentage in terms of our reach, because it's very hard to do this. And it takes a certain amount of not only work ethic, but luck and timing and things like that. But the other thing is that there's very much a kind of gamification of this platform. I don't want to say there's a roadmap, but there is a way to play the game and to kind of boost your appeal, if you will. And I really struggle with that because on some levels, yeah, I need people to watch. We don't do sponsorships. We don't do things. And I'm not disparaging people that do. It's just one of those things where we did them. We did them for a number of years. But I was noticing the feedback, the time on site, the duration, like it wasn't, while it was helping to offset costs here on the, as a business, it was too much of a distraction from the message, the content, and the creative process that the benefit stopped outweighing the downsides. And so we stopped doing them. And I made a commitment to you guys and basically to myself, like, I'm just going to double down on the quality and hope that pays off. And for the most part, it has. It has. We've taken a small dip in earnings or revenue as a business as a result, but the freedom, the peace of mind, the extra stress that I kind of was able to kind of take off my plate has been nice. It's been nice. That said, especially right now in these totally wackadoo economic times and global times and all of this stuff, like right now, everything is kind of freezing up. And people are nervous, they're unsure, they don't know this. And there's also this percolating kind of just sentiment of, as this comment was, like, how do you deal with it? This kind of grumpiness, if you will. And yeah, there's some videos that do well, and then there's some videos that don't do well. And as a person that makes their money, half of a penny at a time, obviously you want eyeballs on the video. And so I have a vested interest in putting as many eyeballs in the video, but at the same time, to what end? And that's what sucks, is it's like, I don't want to mislead anyone. I don't want to lie. I don't want to sensationalize. I mean, I will use things like, is this the best? Is this the GOAT? Because it's a genuine question that we ask in a video and we try and answer. But I also feel like part of the reason why this hobby has reached a stalemate is because the gamification of just everything, and like, how do I just vie for the most market share possible, is really what this has become about, versus like, what does this do for you? Like, do you need this? Like, FOMO sells, FOMO gets clicks for sure, but it doesn't mean you need it. And so I do. It's not that I struggle. I really try my best to walk that tightrope where it's like, I know what title to put on a video for 50,000 views. I do. That doesn't make it the right title though. But as a business person, as a YouTuber, that is horrible advice, because I benefit from the view. So it's a weird predicament to be in. It's an interesting predicament to be in. All right, let's move on. I have a Blue Sound Node N132 driving a Vital Zoo audio speakers. I'm looking at adding direct, but see limited and full bandwidth option. My hearing tops out just above 7K. Do the limited. Do the limited. You will get better clarity gains by addressing bass and low mid-range anyway. So do the limited, which is only going to deal with the low end. You will be amazed at how much clarity, intelligibility, and top-end extension and energy you will achieve by cleaning up the bass and mid-range of any system. So start with the limited. If you want to take it a step further, add the full, but just do limited. 100%. Dwayne. Hey, Dwayne. Hey, guys. Hope peace is finding you today. It is, despite my side quest just then. I've got the mini DSP between my preamp and amps. WIM now has PEQ, and I'm using it as a transport. Could I EQ the WIM and remove the mini DSP? Your recommendation. If you have a mini DSP between your preamp and amp, everything that goes through your preamp is being, quote, equalized. If you just use the mini DSP, or if you just use the WIM, everything that goes through the WIM is equalized, if that makes sense. So if you're using the WIM as your DAC and you have it applied properly, then anything you plug into the WIM that goes from the WIM to your preamp, then out to your amp, would have equalization. And then if you stream through your WIM, everything you stream would have your equalization if you've set it up that way. And that would leave whatever you have directly plugged into your preamp, let's say a turntable, to be unaffected. That's really what we're talking about here. That really is going to be the difference. So if you want everything to be affected globally the same way, keep the mini DSP exactly where it is. So that means that no matter what you plug into your preamp, you're going to have consistency of correction. If you want certain products to not be corrected, but other products to be corrected, remove the mini DSP. But I wouldn't stack. I wouldn't stack. You run the risk of the potential for distortion, I think, at that point. So those are my recommendations. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Steven, what is your experience with Martin Logan's warranty? I checked my Denon 2800 and other speakers play when connected. Did not know if I should buy a new center channel. Love your channel and got me into HiFi rabbit hole. Unfortunately, my experience with Martin Logan's warranty stems entirely from my experiences with their more ESL-based speakers, the electrostatic loudspeakers. And admittedly, I haven't had to deal with Martin Logan warranty on ESL speakers in over 10 years. So this was pre-Martin Logan being purchased by Paradigm. This was, you know, all that stuff. In the late 90s to early 2000s up to 2010-ish, 2012-ish, I thought Martin Logan warranty was excellent in my personal experience. Never really had to rely on it all that much, but their customer service was exceptional. I have no reason to believe that any of that has changed. I just haven't taken it for a spin. So I don't want to speak definitively one way or the other. Martin Logan as a brand, historically, and based on my personal interactions with the brand, both as a customer and a member of the press, has always been really good, solid. You know, I think they make a very good, solid product, and I have no qualms in recommending them. But that's the best I got. Max, 11 pints in, bass is now harder than childhood trauma.
That's pretty hard.
That's pretty hard. That's pretty hard. That's good for you, man.
I'm assuming you don't have anywhere to be tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we're just saying F the whole weekend. Deephan, hope all is well. Will moving from BioSound Stage to a pair of BioLab 8s make a difference for music and movie watching? I usually turn off upmix in BioSound Stage and use it only as stereo.
Just real quick, if I was 11 pints in, you'd have to take me to the hospital.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do that.
No, that would be an ambulance ride to the hospital. Because I wouldn't even be able to, we would need professional assistance in getting you to and from places, because you would be so slippery from throwing up on me everywhere that I don't, yeah.
Anyway,
back to Deepan. Look, if you're chasing stereo and a more traditional stereo experience, the BioLab 8s are going to give you that in a much more traditional sense than the BioSound Stage on its own. BioSound Stage is great. It's a fantastic sound bar that has a very, very musical heart, and I'd love it. But the BioLab 8s in stereo are going to, I don't want to say they're going to outright crush everything that you've experienced with the Stage, but you speaking specifically about trying to get to a more hi-fi stereo experience, the 8s are going to give you that. They are. G Papa, to your best recollection, which of the speakers you have tried, in your honest opinion, has given the best grand piano representation in the room? Okay. Without a doubt, BioLab 90s, but at this point, we're going to just, we should probably retire that reference. Wilson Watt Puppy. I'll go into more detail on that Sunday. BioLab 50s. I want to say the Klipsch La Scala, but I am talking about the AL5, and I am going off of memory. I hope to revise that when the AL6s get here. Believe it or not, my Cornwall 4s do a really nice job, and I have to admit the SVS Titans also have been really remarkable in that sense. 800 signatures, B&W 80. Is it the bookshelves? Those 805 D4s or 801, 805 D4s. A little bit smaller in scale, obviously. But if we're talking full range, grand piano at in-room scale, dynamics, tone, presence, Watt Puppy, BLab 50, BLab 90, maybe La Scala. La Scala for sure, based on memory. I don't know the new one. Bowers and Wilkins 800. There was an old vintage pair of horn speakers that I heard at a show. They're Western Electric. It was some of the most transformative holographic sound ever. I mean, they were huge. These are old theater, like true theater speakers that had been completely retro-modded. That was next level. That was also like 2006, but that's etched in my memory. Yeah, those would be it. Everything, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that sounds good. Like the Monitor Audio Platinum 200s. Like, I really like the bass octaves of what those speakers were doing with piano. Kind of very similar to like the SVS Titans. Like, it gets the impact and the scale there, but there's this element of the organic presence of the surrounding air of the recording space. And I know that sounds super esoteric, and you're like, oh my God. Maybe some of you threw up in your mouth a little bit. But if you've played the piano in any capacity, you know that they make sound on their own. Like, it's a living, breathing instrument that while you depress a key or a pedal, there's a reaction. But there's a whole series of reactions that follow that action. And it's all those little nuances of a piano that is why I love that instrument more than anything. Because it's the most humanistic instrument, in my opinion, in that it breathes. And if you can get to that level of breathing, and you can hear it breathing along with the artist, like that's when you're in the rare air. And that's what I strive for. That's the stuff that gives me goosebumps. So those would be my picks. Let's see, G-Papa, BOLab 90 or 50 in a 7.2.4 setup driven by an AVR.
That's not G-Papa, that's Mick.
No, I'm switching, I know. Mick, BOLab 9050 7.2.4 driven by an AVR. Why do you need an AVR for BOLab 90s or 50s? I mean, I know that you can run the preamp outs of an AVR into the line ins and basically treat the BOLab products like, quote, dumb smart speakers. But you kind of be missing the point and missing the elegance. If you're willing to go this far into their ecosystem, I would encourage you not to invest in an AVR. I would encourage you to get the theater or the BioVision Harmony, because those have the receiver elements, if you will, built into them and let you do all of these channels of Atmos and whatnot. You're gonna get the experience that these products have been designed to give you that way, as opposed to using an AVR. Now, if we were talking about vintage Bang & Olufsen stuff, let's say you have 7 Biolab 4000s. I have 5 myself. And you're like, okay, well, these don't have any of that built-in streaming apps, wireless connectivity, or whatever. They're powered, yeah, but they need an input signal. Then by all means, go get yourself, an AVR with preamp outs, use the RCAs into the line ends of these older B&O speakers and bring them into the modern era. But if we're really talking Biolab 90, Biolab 50 in a home theater setup, don't do an AVR. Get a theater, get a BioVision Harmony, and stay tuned to this channel, because you might find what comes in August and September helpful. Okay. Happy birthday to my best friend. Love him. Thank you, baby.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Do I need to read your follow-up comment?
Yeah, it's a super chat.
Thank you.
Them's the rules.
Thank you. Thank you. And she follows this up with, don't be mad. I used your credit card for the super chat I just sent you. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, your card is the only one that's really installed, so
I just super chatted myself. But it's the thought that counts.
it is.
It is.
It is.
Thank you.
You will
Thank you.
receive exactly what 60% of that amount.
Yeah, we will split it with YouTube.
That is how much I love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Would you buy JBL L100 Classic Mark II today? Which alternatives would you consider? Love the looks of it, like the sound coming from Sonos Faber Lumina 5 or V. Yeah, it's going to be bigger sounding than the Lumina for sure. Just a broader, bigger, bolder sound. Would I buy the L100 Classic Mark II today? I have nothing against that speaker. I think it's actually a really, really good speaker. I was just let down by the build quality. I don't know if the Mark II addressed any of the issues that I had with the Mark I as far as build quality. I'm going to go out on a limb and say they didn't. But that was the disappointing thing about that product. The sound, I thought, was the sound, the look, the general feel of it and vibe of it was awesome. I think they did a great job re-releasing that product, but the build quality was, like the veneer started to peel, the stands were oxidizing within a couple of months. Like that really bugged me about that product, and I made it known.
If you're looking for an alternative, if you like the vintage style of speaker, you could look at Mission. Mission's made some good speakers.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Heresy 4 is going to be a close-ish experience.
I think Forte 4 would be a better, because the L100 has better bass than the Heresy 4.
The Forte 4 is one of my favorite of the heritage speakers that's not the La Scala.
Yeah.
Just know that with the Fortes, the bass is a little trickier to control, so you may need to invest in a better amplifier. But yeah, that's kind of...
The Mission would be a great alternative.
Yeah. I think the
770, not the 700, the 770.
Was it the less expensive one or the more expensive?
No, it's the more expensive. The 770 is all handmade. The veneer work, everything about it is a step above the L100 in my humble opinion. I think it's going to run you close to three grand or so, $4,000 for the pair on the 770s. Now there's a 700, which is $19.99 last I checked. Also a phenomenal speaker, smaller speaker, does not do what the 770 does.
Someone mentioned the Lintons.
The Lintons are always there.
The Lintons
man.
are great.
Yeah, they're there. They're always around. But yeah. Max?
If you have unlimited funds,
I'll go back to it.
you could look at Pitt and Giblin's speaker we reviewed.
Now, those are powered.
They're powered,
But they are
have a similar vibe,
phenomenal.
and they are really good.
Yeah, phenomenal. Phenomenal. Max is back, having one more on you. Happy birthday, volume up.
You're a legend, Max.
Legend.
You'll have to come back when you wake up after your night of partying.
peel yourself
When
off
you
the
wake up, come
floor.
back to the video and leave a comment
Let us
we
know you're okay.
that you're okay.
Dan, I have an 83-inch C2 and it's had multiple firmware updates. Some have knocked out my custom picture settings. Is it possible that some of the picture presets could improve? I swear Filmmaker is improved. It's possible. I mean, the firmware update may be allowing the processor to control certain things better. They may be taking certain restrictions off of elements of the panel. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. And if the firmware update has release notes, they may be only talking about, well, we're releasing or fixing this app, but they're not saying anything else they're doing. So it's hard to say. But it is possible that firmware could be adjusting aspects of picture control and things like that. Yeah. Wirehead, be earlied birthday wishes? Yes, technically my birthday is tomorrow, but I wanted to have a Saturday off. So I thought we would stream today. I get to hang out with you guys a little bit for fun and birthday stuff. Not that I want to make it about me or anything like that, but
Make it about you,
That
honey.
was the thinking.
Make it about you.
So
You
that
should.
we can get back to our normal stuff on Sunday.
We're gonna go out for a steak dinner tomorrow for the birthday celebration. I'm looking forward to all the sides.
Yes, she is. She is.
The potato dishes, the mac and cheese dishes. I don't really need steak when I'm at the steak restaurant.
No.
I really don't. I just bring me bread, butter, all your carbs, and then, yes, I will take the dessert menu.
Well, here's a fun question. Do you do voice work, like audiobooks? I don't do voice work. I don't, although I did do an audiobook. I was asked.
You did?
I was asked to read an audiobook. They ultimately did not use what I did. But yeah, someone brought me in to do an audiobook. This was years ago. Like it was kind of like a college gig. But yeah, that is a tough gig.
Why did they not use you?
Honestly, I don't know.
No feedback?
I never got.
Was it like you're too sexy?
No, I did my thing and I figured there would be more and then nothing happened.
Halifax Park, I don't know if that's how you, Halifax Park says, I fall asleep to your reviews.
That tracks.
Yeah.
That tracks. Gray hair explosion tomorrow?
Some sauteed mushrooms and I'm golden. I agree. I probably will order some mushrooms as well. I'm pretty sure they have that. But yes, I'm pretty excited. The sides cannot get here quickly enough.
Oh my God.
It's not my birthday, but I will be celebrating.
Everything we do is as a pair, so it's fine.
Well, technically, I didn't get a birthday this year. So
That's true. That's true. This year, man.
it's been pretty shit.
This year. We can wrap it up this year in July.
We just have to laugh. That's what you do. You just have to laugh it off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's see. I fall asleep to your reviews. That's great. Whatever you need, man. I'm here for you guys. Whatever you need.
Hey, you know what? The person that said you fall asleep to the reviews, as long as you just, like, you know what you could do? you could go to one of our playlists and pick one that has a bunch of videos in it, and that way it will play all night.
It'll be like white noise for you.
It'll be
all night. All
you
night.
benefit, we benefit. I don't see where there's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
Katie just made an appearance.
Katie is there.
She's the real star of the show.
Max, while he's still cogent, can you both reveal if we expect to be a Lab 50 review? Yes, you can expect to be a Lab 50 review. It is scheduled for sometime in August. Part of the infrastructure project that's kicking off in the beginning of August is tied to that review. So I can't bring you that review until we do that part of the project, because there's a lot more that's going into that as part of a larger thing.
I have a question.
You have a question, okay.
Not for you.
Not for me.
But for the audience.
Okay.
That's still watching. Mm-hmm. Because we see questions like this a lot. Like whenever we get a product, or if you guys ultimately know we have something, mm-hmm. I mean, within seconds, you're like, when's the review?
Yeah.
You know, you're really wanting it. Mm-hmm. And I understand, you know, the idea of like instant gratification, but I would like to know, how long do you expect, or what do you consider like a sufficient length of time for a reviewer to have a product and actually test it before the review should come out?
Great question.
Because I see a lot of people that have channels that get something and then like literally the next day, maybe two, and the review is out. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious what your feelings are. 4 to 6 months. Ian says Ian and Mark
6
are
months.
in the 6 months. I mean, that's
hard to do.
You can't even get that length of time in a lot of situations with product loans.
Yeah.
Now, if they're just sending the product out and they don't expect it for a return, maybe, but you know, we don't
do that.
Typically, I mean, that's not our expectation. So I'm just going to read through some of these here.
Yeah.
Mr. Martini, 1 month seems reasonable. David B. also says a month. 2 to 3 months once you have the product. That's Paolo's thought. Those are Paolo's thoughts. David B. 6 months. Pre-launch, Amit says. Yeah. 1 week. Okay. I mean, a bare minimum, I would agree with you, Thomas. Mm-hmm. Testing time, where'd it go? Shoot.
3 to 4 weeks.
Normal use, at least a few days to up to a month, depending on the depth of data. Okay.
I mean, certain products, I will admit to you, like certain products, especially things like displays, I mean, when we're just talking about can they or can they not hit certain marks and stuff like that, like you can figure that out fairly quickly. And then it becomes about, well, is it stable? Is it, what are the apps like? What's the remote like? Does it have little connections? So I think TVs can be done more quickly than, say, AVRs. I think amplifiers, if you have enough varying speakers pulled out or configurations of speakers readily available, I think amplifiers can be done fairly quickly. I think you can come to a reasonable conclusion fairly quickly. And when I say fairly quickly, I think you could arrive at a conclusion within a couple of days of heavy use on a strict amplifier in the same location on multiple different pairs of speakers, if you've got that kind of time and the ability to do that. TVs, similar. There are benchmarks that TVs need to hit, but everything else, boy, whew, that gets tricky. And then, when you get into smart speakers and stuff, especially things like, the Bang & Olufsen products, where it's like there's so many different ways to use them and incorporate them. So I think for me, my answer to your question would be, it does vary. It does vary wildly. But most of the time, since we do rely on loan products quite a bit, the loan periods really kind of mandate 30 to 60 days max, and so you're really hammering on these products for that period. So that was a great question.
Thank you.
That was a great question. I appreciate all the responses.
Definitely.
Yeah. 2 hours.
2 hours.
Sometimes I can't even hook everything up in 2 hours. Some of these things have got a lot of different connections to test. G. Papa writes, speaking of books, what are some of your favorite books, genres, and authors? What are you reading this period? I'm not reading anything. I will admit to you, and I'm not proud of this fact. I read the news. I read blogs and virtual newspapers every morning, but I haven't cracked a novel in some time. I don't have the time. I just don't have the time.
He doesn't have the time because I make him watch so many series.
She makes me watch a lot of series, and there's always
It's my fault.
There's always something going on. My favorite author of all time, though, is actually it's from my childhood, and that was I love Gary Paulson. He's been my favorite author since I was like 9 years old. And I get that his books are more young adult and all of that, but I just there's a purity and innocence and kind of directness to his storytelling that I've always really, really liked. And so at this point, at my current age, I guess if I were to revisit his books, and I do have every book of his that I've ever owned still in this day, they're in a box in the garage. It'd be a nostalgic read, a quick read, but I really admire his work. I really do. I admire him as a person. He's a really interesting character. To be honest with you, coming up, like when I got into my more formative years, I cared more about screenwriters. Like Andrew Kevin Walker, I read a bunch of his stuff. I cared more about screenwriters than anything. I read a lot of scripts, which is its own little thing. It's different, but that was my thing. That was the stuff I loved. But as far as like, what am I reading now? Just newspapers on a device, on a laptop, so.
What are your favorite authors, people watching?
Oops.
I'm curious.
I just saw a couple of things come through here. What is your favorite AVR under $4,000? Absolute favorite? I don't know, because I like certain things for different reasons. I think the best value for money AVR, if you want to have all of the bells and whistles of the high end without spending crazy amount of money, but has solid amplifiers and everything built in, basically just a jack of all trades. Onkyo's RZ70 or the RZ line is that kind of jack of all trades, because you can do all of the Dirac stuff. You might have to spend a little bit more extra for like bass control and stuff like that, but it has Dirac built into it. It has its own room correction if you don't want to use Dirac. It has all of the features. It's rock solid. The amplifiers perform at a high level, if not overperform. It's just a solid piece of kit. Is it the sexiest thing? Is it the prettiest thing? No. But it's my understanding that the RZ70 is like $24.99 now or $26.99. It's just great value for money. Now, if you're willing to give up some of the more renowned room correction and you're going for kind of that more visceral, true theater, atmospheric, just all in, I love the Sony 7000 ES. You're not going to get Dirac. You're not going to get like this next level room treatment, but there's something about that damn receiver and Sony's just spatial sauce that makes that one really intriguing.
Are you talking about the 7000?
The 7000 ES are one of our reference receivers that we own. I will admit, is it going to be for everybody? No, it won't be. It won't be. But for people that are like, I want my theater to feel like a damn theater. I don't want my theater to feel like a prim and proper 2-channel that's spread out over blah, blah, blah. I want that thrill-a-minute sensation. 7000 ES, pretty damn close to that. Onkyo's kind of right in the middle between that and, say, like a Cinema 30 from Marantz, which is a little bit more than 4K. But if you want to go like a more old school, like manual vibe, but rock solid, if you can find them, I don't think they're made anymore. But Rotel's one Dolby Atmos enabled receiver, it's still solid. It's still really solid. It's not sexy, but it's solid. So yeah. Matthew, I have a Sony 5000 ES AVR. I want to dip my toe into a music streamer. I use YouTube Music. Can you recommend a streamer?
What's the one from Ever Solo we like?
But if he uses YouTube Music, I mean, we use the DMP A8, which is more than just a streamer. That's what we use. Admittedly, I haven't tried YouTube on that, though. I mean, honestly, for me, here comes all the true believers and streamers, but
Well, look right into the camera when you say it then.
here comes all the true believers and the streamers. But if you want the best YouTube experience, honestly, get an Apple TV. I mean, you already have a Sony 5000 ES AVR, so I have to assume there's a TV involved in your connection somewhere. So get an Apple TV. Set the fidelity to its, and I know there's going to be people that are like, oh, but it doesn't do 7 billion kbps. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're going to have the best overall all-around experience, and it's only going to cost you $150. And then you're going to have great interface and great movies and everything. Just get an Apple TV 4K, HDMI into your 5000 ES, call it a day. Thank me later. HiFi, bought an AV10, using it with Dirac live bass control. It definitely sounds better, but the correct bass is just too anemic. Why don't I like the default target curve? I don't know. You can change it, and I would encourage you to do that. You know, your AV10 has 3 or 4 slots for Dirac. You know, do the default curve on slot 1 and on slot 2. Grab the little curve and juice that sucker until you're happy. Hopefully without introducing distortion. But if you don't like the 3.5, I think they boost by 3.5 on the bass frequencies. If you don't like 3.5, you need 6, you need 7, do it. Do it, and then AB. And you know, that's the beautiful thing about Dirac, DSP, and room correction, which we kind of got into earlier in this stream, is it's non-invasive, non-permanent tweaking. And that's what I love about it. Why you don't like it? You're just someone that likes a little bit more. I can tell you when I do Dirac and I make curves, I'm kind of like you. I want a little bit more of that punch, but I make sure to make a curve where the bass really isn't above, or the curve doesn't really hump more than about 3.5 dB, because beyond that, Kristi complains. So that's the beautiful thing about these types of products, is you can have multiple profiles that are readily switchable on the remote. C Booty, acoustic Invader amp with Pylon Jasper 23 speakers and 440 Audio G1 turntable. Your thoughts? Just kidding. I was going to say, it sounds like half of that stuff's made up. Happy early birthday. Do something special for yourself this weekend. Well, I'm going to get to eat a steak and watch my baby have the time of her life eating sides.
It's going to be great.
I bought a power washer last weekend, and I'm going to have to use it again probably tomorrow on my day off because we have these two birds that are just so insistent on making their nests somewhere on our property. And while they're welcome to any part of my property that is suitable for birds, they keep wanting to make their home on my patio.
Like we have an overhang, like a covered porch.
Yeah.
And they want to hang out.
They want to hang out like on our ceiling fan.
Well,
or up in the rafters. And
yeah, like on the
and
is it an eave?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. But I don't want them there because they poop on the furniture and stuff.
Are they pigeons?
They're not pigeons,
doves?
they're doves. They're doves.
So they make that
whoo noise at all hours. And so anyway, long story
he gets so upset at them. And then he gets upset at himself for being upset
at birds.
It's adorable.
Yeah, because I want them to nest somewhere. I just don't want them right underneath our covered patio where they can incessantly crap on all of our furniture. So when I shoo them away, they're not leaving our property, but they're also not really actively trying to find a better suitable place. And keep in mind, like, I'm not bragging. We have a lot of space. There are suitable areas on our property for them to nest. And so lately they've just been hanging out by the pool, and I woke up this morning to take Katie on a walk and noticed that they had dripped some rather large turds all down our white tile. And that really angered me. So I'm going to have to get the power washer out again to get rid of that.
Oh, we finally got a power washer.
Yeah. Yeah, a Ryobi. She's been wanting one for
over a year.
We got a Ryobi power washer. Don't know the model. I've used it for 1 hour. Seems to work fine. No complaints yet. Never owned a power washer, so I have nothing to compare it to. But sure did get the patio furniture clean and the sidewalks clean. And
it did take the paint off the. It looks like it took the paint off that little metal table. The gray one.
Oh, the gray one? No, it didn't take the paint off. Remember I told you I left my goggles my swimming goggles on that little metal table, and my goggles melted to the table. So what you're seeing is what melted to the table.
You know, I just want you to know that I would walk by that table and look at your goggles and think, why the heck are they there? But you know what I didn't do?
You didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
You didn't say anything.
I didn't pick them up. Because I'm a terrible person.
So, anyway, what time is it? Oh my goodness. It is 12:45. Guys, we've been at this for over 2.5 hours. Wow. All right, G Papa is going to close us out, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wait, you missed.
I missed somebody?
You missed another one of Max's. He said you skipped him, and I told him no.
Oh,
that's
my
not possible.
apologies. 13 pints. Soundstage is wider than my life decision. I love that. Sorry, I did not mean to skip that. All right, G Papa with the closer. Have you guys seen the new 50th anniversary Jaws documentary? Still remember first time I watched it, chills, despite, in my humble opinion, was not Spielberg's best film, as many believe. What is Spielberg's best film? Do you want to know why I think Jaws might be Spielberg's best film? Is because everything went wrong during that production. And I haven't watched the documentary. This is just, I think, common knowledge at this point. He was very new at that time to directing. Arguably, it was his biggest thing that he had done up until that point, and everything went wrong. And in the face of everything not going according to plan, you got Jaws. Now, some would argue that because things didn't go according to plan, you got Jaws, but in that it became scarier because they couldn't rely on the damn shark. And that's equally true. But it's also equally possible that because everything was broken, you could have ended up with a real ham-fisted B movie, and you didn't. So I don't know. I don't think Jaws is Spielberg's best work by any stretch, but given what he faced, it was pretty remarkable. As for his best film, oh boy. Wow.
Wirehead mentions Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Close Encounters.
Close Encounters is definitely up there. Close Encounters, for me, one of the things that made Close Encounters so great was it's kind of the same thing that made Lawrence of Arabia so good, and that was the editing. I really felt like Spielberg came into his own in terms, well, the Spielberg cinematography and editing trio really came into their own on Close Encounters. There were so many beautiful cuts in that film, match cuts and dissolves and things that were just at that point in time. It's not that they weren't ever done, but he did them really well. Like, how do you judge the best Spielberg movie? Like, I would argue that he would judge it on entertainment value, because he famously said at one point, I don't remember the context of the interview, but Spielberg said, you know, if I've done my job correctly, you don't care about blah blah blah. So he's a very solid filmmaker, but he's always been about the entertainment.
Did he do Saving Private Ryan?
He did Private Ryan. He did Schindler's List, and those are very easy. Those are very easy marks to hit.
I'd have to say Schindler's List then. Man, that movie was. Whew.
Schindler's List was an important piece, but Schindler's List is discussing Schindler's List is like that episode of Wrecked. Where are we doing Selma or are we doing Dumb and Dumber? Like, of course you have to say Schindler's List. I mean, when it's Schindler's List, we have to, you know. I think peak, to be honest with you though, I do think peak, and is it the best film ever made? No. Is it the most artistic film ever made? No. But I think peak Spielberg is Jurassic Park. It's the confluence of everything that he does well at the right time in the right moment. It was everything that he had learned from Jaws, E.T., Close Encounters, the ultimate summer popcorn movie, everything that you want in a Steven Spielberg movie was in Jurassic Park, in my opinion. It was in Jurassic Park. You had laughs, you had real heart, you had fear, you had danger, tension, action, amazing special effects, great cinematography. It was all there. It was like the complete Spielberg movie. If you want the Spielberg heartstrings spectacle, then you could argue, you know, more Schindler's List or Private Ryan.
Didn't he do E.T.?
Yeah. Yeah, he did E.T. I didn't like E.T.
What?
I mean, I liked it, but I don't know. It was kind of creepy.
What?
Dude, E.T.'s
Creepy?
a creepy movie.
Huh?
When he starts, spoiler alert, but when he starts dying and turning like fucking freaking colors, whew, that was, as a younger person, it was creepy.
Okay, you're weird.
I'm not weird.
You're weird. Saving Private Ryan has to be up there.
Yeah. I mean, look, Private Ryan was, I remember going to the theaters and seeing that movie several times. I will say this. I haven't felt as connected to Spielberg since the 90s. I'll say that much. Like, he hasn't really made any, he's made good films, but he hasn't really made anything probably post 97 that I have felt has carried with it the same emotional oomph that I felt that he had in the 80s and 90s. And that could also just be tied to like where you are in life, you know, but I don't know. I just, he's kind of, I don't want to say he's fallen off as a director. I'm not that pompous. I just, for me, the 90s, late 80s, up until about 2001. So like 87 to about 2001. Like there was just this turning point in cinema where there were so many things happening all at once and everyone was trying their best to get a handle on it and do it at such an insanely high level that I think we were spoiled by the sheer inventiveness of storytelling and cinema that was happening during that time. And I think you can go back and pick a handful of movies from that time. They're all infinitely rewatchable for the most part. Whereas you can't really even go back 5 years from right now and say like, oh, you know, that movie is transformative. So, yeah. I think that's where I'm at. Ready Player...
Was Goonies Spielberg?
Huh?
Oh, man.
Well, he produced it.
Was he a producer?
He was a producer.
He's put out a lot of good movies.
AI. Boy. I can't ride... David B. brings up, he thought Spielberg made a great Kubrick movie in AI. I think they did the best they could with what they had. That... You could argue that movie was maybe snake bit from jump. I briefly had an interaction with that film on a behind the scenes level. And that was a very troubled production. I really enjoyed Ready Player One. Man, I wanted to. And I use it as demo all the time. I do play aspects of that movie for demos all the time. But I did not think that was a very good film. Munich was good. You're right. Munich. That's one I often forget about. So yeah. Oh, I bought a Biosound level based on your review and honestly couldn't be happier. I listened to the Biosound A9 and the 8s, but settled on the level in the end. Thank you for it. The level's a great speaker, man. It's a great little just grab and go. It really is. It's probably the one B&O speaker that we have that I don't use as often because we have so many other ones, but it is one of those gateway speakers for the brand that I think a lot of people sleep on. So, all right, guys, that is going to do it. Minority Report and Munich were his last great films. After that, nothing to write home about. Okay. Dwayne, thank you. Are you watching Foundation? No. F1.
I did.
She started it.
I watched season 1.
I think they're on 3 now.
And now I need to watch it again because they waited so long between seasons. But I enjoyed.
I would have to start over.
I enjoyed what I've seen. I love Lee Pace.
Yes, she does.
So.
F1, so well edited. I'm going to have to take your word for it. Waiting for that one to hit Apple TV streaming soon. Audio mix, amazing. Have not seen it, but I can't wait to watch it. I really can't wait to watch it. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. Thank you for joining us. Hope it was fun. I had fun, as always. And we will see you. We'll see you Sunday. Usual time. Real great video. Had a lot of fun putting it together for you guys. So see you Sunday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.